doing this is actually a slang for vagina.
You know what? Honestly.
Of course, like Rob has with the gloves, some people have actually made trackers where it actually tracks your toes.
What? Why would you need to? You know what? There's a place on the internet for
like
everyone.
that, yeah.
I shouldn't.
No.
You'd be surprised, like when I
If it's not your
Sometimes-
own feet, that's a great way to do it.
Sometimes you got to make that
feet.
Genshin feet money.
I did my best. I sent you a picture in the Discord of my theme. I am a certified beverage goblin.
You can serve it with simple. If you don't want it as sweet, you can choose without it. I'll never.
I'm gonna be in my little
I did it
corner
to
of my
hurt
room
you.
and
I'm
drinking
sorry,
my
Rob, but I didn't
champagne.
even want to hurt you. It just kind of
That's
happens
crazy.
that way.
I'm not even drinking tonight because I can't handle this.
Damn. All right, y'all ready? Everyone
do it.
ready?
All right, let's do it.
Thumbs up. You know, you good?
I'm gonna grab my tea.
All right, get your tea. I got one. All right, guys. In 3, 2, 1. Hi everyone, and welcome to Just Before Midnight, episode 6 of One-on-One with my co-host, Rob Gay, and of course, my special guest. Natalie, would you like to introduce yourself to all the viewers?
Yes, hello. I'm Natalie Van Sistine, and I'm probably best known on these here internets as a voice actor. I play your forger in Spy Family, hence the avatar here. And also just very excited, I got to announce that I play Premia in ZZZ as well, too.
I'm so happy
I was super
about
stoked for that.
Yeah, actually, funny enough, I as soon as I found out that you were the voice of Premia, I saw your tweet about how, because my friends and I actually mistaken me for Allegra, because a lot of people did, like before anything. And I saw your tweet saying, "I'm so honored to be mistaken as you," and I saw that in there when Allegra actually posted that to you, and I'm like, I felt so bad. Me and my friend, my girlfriend, we were just like, is that Allegra? There's no way. You do such a good job. And the thing is too, is that when we heard the boss, I'm like, oh, okay, now there's Allegra. It's like, oh my god, that's a crazy. But like, it's so amazing that you're able to get the role of that. I'm so happy for you. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you.
One of the biggest things was just to start. This is your first time in VR chat, yeah? Like you've never been in.
Yeah, you guys had me download it yesterday and explore a little bit. To be fair, I had done a little bit when I visited Rob a couple years ago. I got to try his rig out and wander around and
yeah,
try
when
it out.
she was
So
over here,
I
I let her try out the headset at the bar that Steve built.
Yeah, that was really fun. So I got a little bit of a taste of it, but this is my first time doing it, or using it on my computer, just with, I'm just desktop mode for right now. But yeah, this is my first time trying something like this, especially for like an interview or for like interacting with people like this. So this is very cool.
Yeah, I mean, like when it comes to usually, like when you do interviews, especially if it's like online, you usually just do like Discord calls, right? Or how do you usually do it?
Yeah, normally it's like a Discord call, and I'll go sit in like my booth and everything too, so you can get that nice ASMR audio. So apologize, I didn't rig that up for this.
No,
but,
no, it's all relaxed.
but it still works out.
Professional.
Just in the booth, sweating in VR chat.
Oh God, that would be, I
Oh,
just
sorry, the computer's malfunctioning. There's too much sweat on the keyboard. It's the spark shooting out. Oh God.
So the funny thing is that my booth has this giant like floor to all the way to the top of the booth window, and the old model that I used to work in, it would take like 0 seconds for it to start steaming up, and if I stand in the booth, it steams up. So I literally have to sit down, or it's like I'm going to completely like pass out because of the heat.
Like
so
turns into like a sauna kind of.
But your new one has like a
Basically-
ventilation system, doesn't it?
It does. I don't run it when I'm recording. I basically, if it's warm enough, like during the winter from like September, October through like April, May-ish, it's okay. We're heading into the season though where I'm in there in like gym clothes basically, and just I just have to shower every time I'm done recording.
I don't blame
so
you.
it's just job hazard at this point, you know. But it's always funny because the glass window, you can tell it's bad when the condensation starts to form and drip down the window or the door.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and then that's where you're truly like the whole sauna thing. I think of like, I remember seeing one of your TikToks too of, it's because when you see it, it's like a little thing in the corner of your house and it's like glass and it looks small, right? It's like very tiny. Like, how's the size? Like, can you walk a couple of like meters, or is it just like literally stand and that's all you can do? Like, how?
Let's see. In meters, it's about 2 meters long and 1.5 meters wide, if that gives you an idea.
Okay. So quite relatively small, which makes sense.
It's enough.
It's a little bit bigger than a phone booth.
Yeah, I've got like a little desk in there, and then I have like a bar chair that I sit in to record in most of the time. So most of the things I'm recording remotely is just me in the little box. It's kind of like Lego, but for adults, where you kind of build it up into this like little Lego construct.
Do it yourselves kind of things. Yeah.
Literally though, yeah. So it's been I've had that one for about 5 years now.
Wow. Okay.
I had a smaller one for a couple of years, and then when the pandemic started and everyone was moving to remote, everyone was like, Natalie, how do we do this? Because I've been remote recording professionally since 2010.
Yeah.
And obviously didn't start there. Like, I was literally in my bedroom with a USB mic for a while, and I did some like indie commercials and stuff like that, very small scale, and it was like, cool, this is how I'm paying for food in college. I just like smack the mouse, so that's why my head just floated up like that. I'm gesturing, you know, again, that you can't see. But yeah, so by the time remote came around, everyone was like, Natalie knows what's happening here. How do we do this?
We gotta make it work. Slap a whole studio inside your own home and just kind of work.
I mean,
with
it very much did change how like some people doing remote recording, but it was never like a big thing. But since COVID, like everybody I know has a booth in their house.
Yeah, and there's so much available. I know a lot of actors would like to have everything have the remote option, but I will say it went from being very, very difficult to convince anyone to do remote for you to the point where really the only thing we don't do remote anymore is anime and higher end video games because of the technical demands that both of those require. But basically audiobook recording, commercials, anything that's just you solo in the booth, that is pretty much 100% remote at this point, or at least remote option. You could still go into studios if you were local and they wanted you to come in. But there's pretty much a remote option for everything now. And then especially mobile games in particular, we do almost all of those remote. I've recorded for even some major localization games remotely. So for the most part, I do have a place out in LA a room that I share with a couple other actors. So I do travel to LA from time to time, but for the most part, I do not have to leave my home, which is great.
Yeah, because I mean, at some points, you know, it's just nice and convenient on that. But I mean, like with me, I like to go out a lot. I don't want to be cooked up in my house all the time, right? It's always good to know.
And that's why I enjoy having, I live local to Crunchyroll specifically, so it's really nice to have my, you know, a couple or, you know, 1 or 2 anime sessions a week gets me out of the house, lets me do that, and then the rest of the time I'm in my little corner in my little cave.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way with like a lot of my work. I usually like to do it, you know, in home. Sometimes I'll take out my bike or my electric trike and like just drive around, and I'll have my phone and have my chat just join me, and then they like anytime they give like a sub or anything, they say go left. So it's like a nice little incentive to just kind of like thing to go
left
together.
into the ditch, and you're like,
really
no, I mean if there's an available turn, of course.
rush the cars in front of you.
Yeah, I try and convince people to like go outdoors more because I know a lot of people, they're scared of going out. I guess, you know, there's some places, especially places like LA where it can be very dangerous. I know some friends that live in like San Francisco, and San Francisco can be, you know, in certain areas it can be rough.
Yeah.
There's
right?
some areas that are so wonderful to be out at, and other areas where you're like, oh no,
Yeah.
who's gonna scream at me this time? You know?
I mean, I was just there for GDC, and again, most of the time during the day it's fine, but like, you just gotta make sure to know where you're going. Did I tell you that I got catcalled twice while at GDC?
Really?
What?
Yeah, so, like,
Congratulations!
that's awesome.
Oh my
It was so
God.
funny because like at first I thought it was like someone listening to a recording, because there was this woman inside this like white Mercedes Benz just going like, "Hey, do you want to party?" And I was like, "Who the hell is she talking to? Like, what's going on?" And then
Oh my
like
God,
the
you're
car
doing the John
reverses
Travolta
and
thing.
stops right. It was. So I was like, it was the same, like it sounded like it was on repeat. "Hey, do you want to party? Hey, do you want to party?" Like the exact same cadence and sound every time. So I'm like,
Annoying.
it's somebody coming from like a window or something, and I see the car reverse up to me. And it's
muffled
like,
out.
"Hey, do you want to party?" I'm like, "Ma'am," like I was unemployed at the time, so I was like, "Ma'am, I can't afford this." Like,
Unless you're
kept
paying
walking.
for, unless
But
you're
it was
paying
like,
for everything.
It was like
sure.
twice that it happened. We're just like it felt like GTA, where like they pull up and they like ask the prostitute to come in, except for it's me, and it's the prostitute in the car asking me to come with them. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, I having
Woo,
just-
money. Whee.
Oh,
Yay.
woo. Hey, money. No, that's the thing too. I've had my encounters with people that just kind of randomly come up and just say, "Hey, you want to do something?" And I'm usually pretty extrovert when it comes to that. Like, I'll usually walk around. I'll take my walks. Luckily enough, I have a good neighborhood, so I can literally just walk around, say hello to the
good.
neighbors and stuff like that. So, especially during the summertime, I try and get people, like, usually when I tell my chat, I usually say, "Hey, it's good to go out," or even just go to your back porch if you got one, and just sit out and get some sun, because it's always good and you feel good, right? I know we love being indoors. I do too, but just something about the nice fresh air and just being able to, like, I find more of my inspirations come from just, going out in the sun and just, looking around like, oh, I got an idea, right? So that's what I try and do.
Yeah, the number of times just going outside and just standing in the sunshine for 5 minutes. Like, I did a convention in Bangor, Maine in February. So, we're still in the winter-ish months. And I remember how middle of the day, we'd been inside in this convention center, doing meet and greets and signings and stuff all day.
Right.
And then around middle of the afternoon, we're like, oh my gosh, everyone has to go outside and take a picture, because the convention center was right where the big Paul Bunyan statue is. And so we're like, we gotta go take a picture of Paul Bunyan because it's Stephen King's it's a landmark. And we go outside and we take this picture. And just standing outside in the sun for 5 minutes, we were all like, oh my God, we've recharged, we're rejuvenated, life has come back to us.
It's funny when you mentioned it. If I remember, my city actually had the old mansion built for the movie, which the recent.
Really?
Yeah. My friend told me they had a
the
little
house
back
on
one.
Nebolt Street is in
It was
Toronto?
in my,
Oh, no
It was
way!
just outside. It was actually just outside of Toronto, just a little bit north of where I live, because I'm outside
Oh my God, I
of
could see
it.
that fitting perfect.
Yeah, because it's just, my town is known for GM town, so General Motors. So when my friend told me about it, and he actually showed me it, and then I looked it up, I was like, oh dang, okay, that's actually kind of cool. It was like an old dilapidated corner where some old factories were, because again, it was a lot of, back then in the day, I mean, it was all just, General Motors, Chevrolet, that's it. Like, most cars were just that, compared to now, where it's like Toyota, Tesla, all that kind of stuff. So when I got that, I was like, whoa, that's awesome. And thinking about it now, I do miss the days of like being able to just go out there, and we don't usually get them as much as Toronto does when it comes to any of those movies and stuff like that. Like, one of my cousins, they actually were one of the actors for the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies. The first one, he was just one of the random officers
Lens flares,
walking
right?
in the lens flare, that J.J. Abrams, yeah.
Lens
I
flare.
played. Listen,
I'll let you know, I played Bridge Lens Flare number 4.
I was Christopher Pike. I was the one.
I was the lens flare that blinded the camera and blotted out Chris Pine's face.
With all the lights.
But only for a
flashing through it.
second, okay? We can't do it too long.
It's like,
Come on. I to be honest with you, I did like the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies. I actually
No, I think
I think they were great.
no, I think the first one's I mean, I like the first one. I think the third one's great. The second one's the one with
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Cumberbund as Khan.
I have very little memory of the second one, and I haven't seen the third one yet, which feels like I need to fix that because I know
the third one was
the costuming and everything. Yeah,
I thought the third one. No, I thought the third one was better than the second. I thought that they did something really interesting with it.
Okay, well, I enjoyed
I thought the second one wasn't super memorable, but I remember having such a good time with the first one.
Okay, are you a big avid Star Trek fan at all, or?
Not super. I used to watch quite a bit of Voyager back in the day.
Oh my god! Did we just become best friends? Holy crap! My mom introduced me to that. Like that's how I got introduced.
I feel hesitant to call myself like a major fan. I was more of a Star Wars EU books reader as a kid, more so, but I did enjoy a good Star Trek, and we grew up with the movies of the original series and Voyager. My parents used to watch Deep Space Nine on Wednesday nights after they put us to bed. My dad would
oh my god
have his one beer of the week and a pizza, and he and my mom would split a pizza, and it was Star Trek night for
Oh, that's so cute. What a mood.
Cute.
That is, well, I always know, because a lot of people, when they think of, like, OG, like, female leading actress, I always think of Catherine Janeway. At least in that start before the future ones came through, right? And through my generation.
I haven't watched it, and Deep Space Nine seems like it would be the most perfect for me, so I really need to get on that.
Yeah.
Do you ever watch Babylon 5?
No, that's also on my list.
That's a really good one. I'd highly recommend that one.
Love Firefly.
I've been showing my girlfriend Babylon 5, and actually I got my brother for his 50th birthday a message from the main, like Captain Sheridan, from the main protagonist starting in season 2. But I mean it's one of those sci-fi shows that's really ahead of its time. Like it's one of the ones like kind of like they made the sort of push to. Well, Stargate's more campy and fun. Babylon 5 is a 5-season story arc that was written out completely in advance with like the idea of like if any actor left, they had ways to bring them in and out of the show. Like it, but it's one of the ones that like it aged extremely well, and the politics in the show are like timeless. Like it's and they have some of the best character arcs of all time. Like it's incredible. It's you have like your like shows that are more of like your villain of the week kind of thing, like Stargate, that has like an overarching kind of like goal, but it's not like Babylon 5 is a novel that is turned into a TV show. That's what it is. And so it's basically a 5-book series turned into a TV show.
I've also been recommended Battlestar Galactica too, and
that's a good one too.
Yes. Yeah,
I've done a little bit of. I loved Stargate Universe too. Also, I think that was some of the best sci-fi television.
Stargate Universe is heavily inspired by Battlestar Galactica.
Okay, because I still think about the episode where they're like, "Oh my God, we're losing power. How are we gonna do this?" And then the reveal at the end of that. Not to ruin it, please go watch Stargate Universe. Yeah. You don't need to know. You need to know very little about Stargate, but the first 3 episodes of Stargate Universe are still, I think, some of the best sci-fi television ever produced. I think of it so highly.
We're just geeking out at this point. It's so cute.
I know. I'm sorry. We're very good at getting off on tangents.
No, this is exactly. Here's the thing, though. This is what I like doing. It's not just about because a lot of people know you as, again, voice of your Forger. You got Serval, Hawkeye Starwell. You got Promea now. But what we like doing here is to get to know more about you as a person, right? And just have a good time. That's the whole point, right? Because you do enough interviews, you go through so many. It's like we don't want to just make it another one. We want to make it more natural and organic.
I have never related more to the actor Tom. I can't think of his last name. Who plays Biff in Back to the Future? That man literally, he's a stand-up comedian and he's hysterical. I still quote one of his specials constantly. He's so funny. and he literally wrote a song that he plays on the guitar at the beginning of his stand-up, where he basically goes through and is like, stop asking me the questions. And it's like, what did you think of working with this person? He was nice. What did you think about this? Very quiet. You know, like, and all this stuff. And he goes, now don't ask me these ever again. And I'm like, I need a way to do that where I'm like, okay, here's the basic answers to everything. Or like, here's the video.
Yeah, like
if
have
you
a
ask
cheat
me one
sheet
of
or
these,
something.
yeah, if you ask me
Right.
one of these 5 questions, here's the video where I'll go talk about it. We can have a conversation about anything else, but
Yeah.
not those things.
Like that teacher
Yeah.
that brings in, like the substitute teacher that brings in Bill Nye the Science Guy when he doesn't know what else, and it's just like, here's all you need to know for the whole day, because Bill can do it better than I could ever do. And that was always like the thing back in my childhood, but like, and that's understandable. But I'm like, sometimes like a lot of my community, they would never even think, or they're like me under a rock, where they've never watched your interviews or and anyone else's, and
Right,
they
and
kind
I
of want to know.
do
Right?
try to give grace for that, where I'm like, okay, I know you're probably not plugged in, and this is the first time you're hearing this, but also this is the 60th time I've answered this question, and it's harder for me to be as engaged or sound as interested in answering that question.
Yeah.
And I feel bad because I feel like I'm not giving you a fun, authentic excuse, when at this point answering that question is more muscle memory than anything genuine. So it's
gray
kind
area.
of a balance where I'm like, I want you to have the experience you want, and I want you to have a good time and enjoy talking to me, but I also don't want you to feel like I'm phoning it in, because I'm like, at this point, I don't know what else to say.
Right. I mean, like, and that's the thing too. It's again that gray area of like, okay, yeah, they don't know, but then I've done it so many times, and then it's like you're kind of like an impasse, but you do it anyways for the sake of it, because you just don't want to think of rolling your eyeball and like, that kind of stuff.
Well, I think in that
Yeah,
case,
okay.
why don't we go for some more targeted questions? Like,
Sure.
obviously, you have a background of being an audio engineer alongside your voice acting career. I think a lot of the time, from my experience, there's knowing how and having having a better understanding of the engineers that are going to work with your audio. How does that, like, do you feel that gives you an advantage when it comes to recording? And like, how do you feel like having the background of audio engineering helps you in your profession when you're just recording normally?
Yeah, so I got an audio engineering degree because when I first started out, I started auditioning for a lot of projects, and then I was like, okay, well, I auditioned for everything that interests me for today. What else do I do? And I had the idea, like, okay, I would like to try to make something of my own, and I've always been a little too much like, how hard could it be? Like, almost to a fault is how my entire career has been in every angle of everything. And so I kind of oopsie-doodled my way into being an audio engineer, where I was like, I grew up really liking audiobooks and audio drama, so I went, how hard could it be to make one of those? So I literally went to my bookshelf, grabbed the book Coraline, and was like, I'm gonna make an adaptation of Coraline. Yeah, so I wrote like 3 15-minute scripts that covered the basics of Coraline. And I went out and said, who wants to be in Coraline? And I did like a little casual audition on the voice acting forum that I got started on in 2009. And way back.
Jesus.
And
Yeah.
I started editing all the lines together and putting all the sound effects, and I wrote my own music for it. It wasn't good. I scrubbed it from the internet for a reason, but but it taught me so much. And in the process, I went, hey, this like audio thing is kind of fun. I like this. Maybe I can do more of this. So I kept putzing around and doing more of my own projects. And over time, I was like, wait, maybe this would be a good career, because there's no world where I'm ever going to be a full-time actor. That's so silly and so stupid. Oh my God, I need a real job. An audio engineer is a real job. So that was literally how I came across that job. A friend of mine talked me into going to the school that he graduated from. I got my degree, and I had the idea that, okay, audio engineering is going to get me in the room. and gonna allow me to
Right.
at least work with the cool people, and I can rub shoulders with them. And I'm never
Yeah,
gonna be a
open up those
full-time
doors.
actor, but at least I can be in the same room. And it kind of went from there. But what I didn't realize was that I was still doing voiceover the whole time, and people continued to cast me and give me more work, which was amazing. But then
Right.
also too, at the same time, I was like, wait a second. While I'm sitting here engineering for other people, I'm learning how they take direction, and I'm hearing all the interesting choices where they hear this reference audio or they receive this direction from the director, and this is where they go with it. And oh my goodness, that's so clever, and that's so interesting, and that's so much more than I've ever brought to the table. And wow, that's what I have to bring to the table to be as competitive and as interesting and as good of an actor as they are. And so from there, I really feel like that taught me so much about, like, okay, if I want to be in the room, this is how I need to act. This is how I need to, like, the level I need to be on. This is the amount of knowledge of how to handle these kind of, like, be under this kind of pressure and be able to deliver this kind of versatility. So for me, I think audio engineering was amazing because it was essentially a free masterclass where I got to be paid to do a job that allowed me to just sit and watch other actors act. And then mentally, if you're in that position and you're taking those kind of notes and you're holding yourself to, like, how do I continue to try to raise my own standards to where they're at, it was incredibly fruitful for me to be able to learn how to be a better actor myself. So I consider that experience completely invaluable. I completely did it by accident, but it was it taught me so much about everything I needed to know about, you know, start to finish. And even too, like, you even hear, like, oh, this actor was unprofessional in this way. Oh my gosh, I should never do that. Good to know that that is something that a director doesn't want to deal with. Yeah, so I learned so much, where I always tell people that if you want to be a voice actor or you want to work in any creative field, you don't necessarily have to be an audio engineer, but anything you can do in production tells you so much about how to be the best version of an actor you can be once you understand how everything behind the scenes is working.
Yeah, like, shoot, like, I noticed, like, throughout some of your work, you also worked with Death Battle, right? My friends love watching Death Battle. Yeah. So what was your role in that one?
I did a little bit of everything. I started out as, I played, oh gosh, how many? I was Wonder Woman, I did Black Widow, and Queen Maeve from The Boys. So definitely found my home in all the major superhero franchises, which was really fun. And from there, I did some engineering, and then it got to the point where the primary director for Death Battle wasn't really available as much, or didn't have as much availability. And they were like, Natalie, directs and sessions. And so I've directed a number of different sessions, which was quite fun. And that one's always interesting too, because it's a very fast session where you have to get a lot of vocally stressful noises. So it was interesting to also have that experience of, like, oh my gosh, I need to not kill these actors in 60 minutes, but also get the full gamut of a battle sequence from them.
Yeah.
So
right.
Yeah.
And that's where that pressure and the time comes in and kind of allows you to expand on your experience over time with multiple jobs in that area of expertise. And one of the things, like, going from that, and I'll put the elephant in the room on this, because I mean, again, you're the voice of your recorder. How did that happen? Was it like a call, or like this just lottery kind of thing? Like, how did you were able to get the role for that?
Yes, the voice acting lottery.
Yes, that we all sign up for. I jokingly.
Well, I mean, that's how they cast the movie Deep Blue Sea. They just put all a bunch of actors inside of a rotary bin, and then they pulled it out. They're like, Sam Jackson's gonna be in this movie. It's crazy.
Come on down.
Oh my god.
We talked about this question recently, not the how did you get into Spy Family, but like how do you get into voice acting? And that's one of the questions. The how do you get into voice acting is one
That's
of
like the question that like everybody
The
gets.
question that everybody get. Yeah.
Yeah, that everyone asks. And so when we get asked that one, you know, a lot of times we've started to come up with more and more insane answers. And one time I think we were really tired.
I want to hear it.
And Megan, who plays Anya in Spy Family, we both kind of started riffing off of each other at this con recently where we're like, oh, yeah. It's like a giant. So if you want to be a voice actor, like a famous, really popular voice actor, what you do is there's this secret competition that you have to get into, and they drop you into this containment area like the Hunger Games, and your job is to hunt down J. Michael Tatum, and you have to capture J. Michael Tatum, who plays Sebastian in Black Butler, and is just like this legendary actor in the space. And we're like, if you can catch J. Michael Tatum, then you get the spot for the year of being the famous voice actor.
What?
And so we joke about that, but with Spy Family in particular, it was kind of a one thing leads to another, and it's not any one thing where, because a lot of people are like, oh my god, you just had that one audition and then everything happened. And I go, well, about that. And really what it boiled down to was I had been trying to get into Crunchyroll for several years and trying to get work, and for a while they were not doing auditions. So basically the only way you got into Crunchyroll was someone who already worked there had to know you and had to essentially badger a director enough to work with you, which is no small feat. And so I owe a lot to Amberly Connors, who is probably best known as Furina in Genshin Impact. She stuck her neck out for me and got me my first role, my first named role there. Brittany Lotta brought me in for some bits and stuff, and then Amber really got me in with a speaking part, which was really awesome. But then finally, when they started opening up auditions again, there was a total no hiring during the first year of the COVID lockdowns. And then they finally were like, okay, we're going to start auditioning people, especially if you have remote capabilities, because we need that. And so when I started auditioning, there was a director named Jade Saxton, who is now actually the current director of Spy Family. And so I started auditioning, and Jade was the first director who started casting me based off of auditions. And every season, she would keep giving me, I wasn't getting leads, but I was continuously getting parts in her shows. And I was coming in semi-regularly and starting to build that reputation and experience. A year after that, I had been in 4 or 5 of her shows, done a couple of different anime projects here and there. I was really starting to build my skill sets, build a better reputation locally. People were also starting to know who I was because I was engineering locally too. So I was, they'd sign on for their Source Connect sessions while we were remote, and I'd be like, hi, this is Natalie. I'm your engineer. We're going to get connected today. Let me know if you have any questions. And eventually the audition for Spy Family went out. And this was the first time I got a major audition from Crunchyroll. Everything else had been seasonal anime, which still isn't nothing. That's how you cut your teeth and how you prove yourself. But I had never gotten a big, oh my god, this is a Shonen Jump show. So I was like, oh my god, this is a big deal. And
I think you just immediately in your head.
Right. And immediately in my brain, I was like, there's no way on earth I'm getting a main character in a Shonen Jump show when this is the first time I've ever auditioned for a Shonen Jump show. So I went in trying to go, I don't think I'm going to book this part, but I really want to do something that a lot of actors refer to as booking the room, where you prove that you are good enough to call in at some point, or that you're good enough to remember. So I was focused on how do I book the room, and I really wanted to do justice for the audition to make sure that this was my first big opportunity, and I was at least proving that I was capable of doing something worth remembering. And did the audition. I actually had a copy of the manga, went and did my research, read the first volume of the manga, and went, oh my gosh, okay, I think I understand this character. And what I really came to realize was the audition didn't really go into as much detail about Yor's anxiety. And when I read the manga, that was what resonated the most strongly with me, where I went, okay, she's this assassin, but her anxiety is something incredibly grounding and relatable and shocking. No one I have since been diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. So I found that very, very easy to connect to in the character. And when I did that, I was like, oh my gosh, I get this. I understand how this character works. She's like me. She, instead of going to the booth and pretending to be an assassin, she goes out and is an assassin. And then she has a complete anxiety breakdown after the fact, like I do in my car after I go into a session.
So you take a deep breath and just have your breathing sessions. Do you do that when you get prepped and stuff? Like, do you have like a certain routine you like to do before getting ready to go into the booth? Or...
I should. I don't do it as much as I should.
Really?
Yeah, I have one that I do, and like if I'm dealing with vocal stress and I'm really tired, I try to make sure I do it more. But there are a lot of days I literally, the booth, especially when I'm doing remote sessions and the booth is in my house, like it's kind of embarrassing the number of times I've been like, oh shoot, I have a session in 10 minutes. I should probably roll out of bed now.
That's a mood.
Yeah, no, I feel like everybody I know past 35 is just like, but especially working remote, there's plenty of times in my job where I'm like, I don't have a meeting till 11. I'm gonna stay in bed. I'll just answer a couple emails.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, messaging clients from my bed, and the dogs are climbing all over me, but it's fine. And so when I
have the same problem. My cat just locks me into my bed.
So I really found You're extremely, extremely relatable for her anxiety, and then I channeled that into the audition, and I think I sent it off on I think it was due Sunday afternoon, and I sent it off Saturday night. Like I put it off as long, not to the last possible second, but I kept revisiting it and I kept chipping away at it and okay, I really want this to be a good impression. Sent it off, and then I remember very vividly sitting in the booth and having the thought, oh my God, I need to sit here and forget this. Because the big thing is when you send an audition off, at that point, it's totally out of your control. You need to send it and forget about it and not sit there and obsess about it. And I knew that's what I needed to do. And I failed miserably. I failed miserably. No, I was sitting there. I had a whole ritual moment where I was like, you have to let this character go. I know you relate to her. You think she's fabulous. You would love to play this character. Oh my God, if you got this character, you might get to go to an anime convention. How cool would that be?
And cosplay. Do the whole thing.
Right, people would cosplay the character. And I love how it was a singular, maybe 1 or 2 anime conventions, little did I know. And then I just couldn't stop thinking about it. I just was completely unable to detach myself from the idea of oh my gosh, but what if? And I was like, stop this. Oh my God, you have to let this go. I was also writing a script for a show called Show by Rock that weekend that I had to. So I was like, shut your brain down, go write freaking Show by Rock. So I'm hammering away at this dumb Show by Rock script. I'm sorry for anyone who loves Show by Rock, but I'm hammering at this script. My heart's not in it. I am so distracted. I finished the script. It was due Tuesday morning. I was up till 3 a.m. writing Show by Rock because I was just a mess that weekend. And I wake up the next morning and there's a missed call and it says, "Hi Natalie, this is producer from Crunchyroll. Do you have time for a quick call?" And I lose my shit. And you literally, I have a picture. I have a picture of my watch from that day where my heart rate goes to 165 from my resting rate. Yeah, I was vibrating for a solid hour before he called me back. And I was even still at that point so delusional. I was like, oh, it's probably for a callback. Oh my God, I have to prep for a callback. Oh my God, what does a callback entail? Oh my God. And then I got this phone call and they went, "Hey Natalie, the director really liked your stuff. Do you want the part? Are you going to be in town?" And I went, "Yeah, I want the part."
Yeah.
And I also come to find out I hadn't worked with the director who initially cast and directed the first couple seasons of Spy Family. His name is Chris. Awesome. Love working with him. And Chris had never worked with him before, but when he heard my audition and he liked what I did, he went to Jade and he said, "Hey Jade, I saw you've been working with Natalie very consistently. Should I hire Natalie for your?" And I had Jade on my side, and Jade said, yes, you should. So I have Jade very much to thank for vouching for me, and that is how I got your.
That's sick.
Yeah, like the thing is like, again, it's like winning the lottery in that point, because Yor is one of the, at least in the generation, a very beloved female character. It's like the same with like Card Captor Sakura back in the day, or another female lead, example Haruhi Suzumiya. You know, getting that role for that specific, it's just like you did it, and it feels so good. And when you were telling me about, okay, let me tell you something. When I got when Rob told me if I'd like to actually like get to interview you, I was in the same point of like I usually, when it comes to like people that are famous, I usually am pretty cool with it, because it's like we're all just normal people. We're working on, we're doing these types of things, whatever, right? My mom used to be a bartender for like 20-something years, and she's met Howie Mandel, who did Deal or No Deal, stuff like that.
Oh, hell yeah.
Literally, personally was good friends with him. So when my mom told me that, I'm like, I love Howie, oh my god, and stuff like that. But I realized, I'm like, I gotta calm down. And I gotta think about the people like that, right? So I was the same person, like, gosh, I hope I don't mess it up. I gotta make sure I make a good impression, because I always want to, because when I talk with people, I try to be myself. It's hard because sometimes Twitch TOS and some things that you want to say that you think is completely normal, but then things just happen.
Sure.
You know how they did. But like, I was really happy getting to talk with. For people who don't know, we were actually setting up last night, and I got to talk with Natalie for a little bit, and we just talked, and we talked about all these other like funny like anime dubs and stuff like that were like absolutely hilarious and great. Yeah. Is that actually fine to talk about, or like?
I mean, sure. I for context for chat. One of my favorite things is there's a specific clip from an anime called Sins of the Sisters, I think it is. That just makes me cackle every time, because it's this random extra, but he sounds like Charlie Day doing that. Is your cat making too much noise? Like that scene. It just sounds like that, and I cackle every time I hear it, and I make everyone else watch it with me.
Yeah, and then we went into, like I mentioned about like ghost stories, because I didn't really know. I know some of the context from my friends, but I did know that whole story about ghost stories was just because they needed, because the show is so bad that they just need.
Oh yeah, no, I mean the original show was like unwatchable. Like the Japanese version, the stories are inconsistent and it just doesn't make any sense. And so they basically just had the license. I imagine they got it dirt cheap because of that. And so they're like, what if we just wing it? What if we just bullshit up something for fun? And
I genuinely don't know the exact course of how they got from point A to point B on that. It just feels like the perfect storm, where now that I know as much as I do about production, I don't know how that happened, but I think it's hilarious that it did.
I would imagine that somebody just kind of took it on as a pet project.
Well, what I wonder, and I feel like I need to, next time I see Monica, I need to ask her about it, because I feel like she would know. But what I suspect probably happened was no one had time to actually write the scripts, or like the scripts weren't getting done, or something fell through, and they just went, hell with it, let's see what happens, and just went from there.
Turn it into a Whose Lines It Anyways thing and just go with it. Yeah, they
probably had the direct translation of what they were actually saying, and then they went, here's kind of what's there, let's see what fits, and kind of went from there, and then created their own internal logic and inside jokes and continuity within the story from there. If I had to guess, I think that's probably what it was, where it was just them winging it. But it's such a funny idea, and I love that for them.
Yeah.
I mean,
that one's legendary for a reason.
Kind of going back to what you were talking about, though, regarding like interactions with actors and all that. I think one of the biggest things, though, is that a lot of people who do kind of get starstruck, I think once they start kind of working, you realize that at the end of the day, they're just people. Like,
exactly.
And that's why it's like, I think once you kind of get that concept, it's a lot easier to like work with actors and just realize like, oh yeah, it's a person, because you know, a lot of the time I think a lot of people like hold the character that an actor voices in so high regard.
Very dear. Yeah.
That bleeds into the actor and the perception of the actor, and then you're just like, oh my god, it's this person. Ah! So, you know,
Yeah, I mean, like when
it's kind of
when,
curious to see, but
right, it's like the same with like Amber. Like I love my friends love Karina, and then when she voiced for Ramio, I was like, oh dang, you can see clearly hear her voice, and it's because it's like sometimes you know what they say is that, you know, like Kevin Hart plays his usual self, but he does really good, or like Jason Statham, who does a action film, but people don't care.
Well, Jason Statham plays Jason Statham in every movie, but that's why people love it.
Yeah, exactly, right? When I hear Amber, I always just think of Fiorina, but she does such a good job in staying entertaining of that. It's such a passionate part of her, and I love that about her. And when you mention about how she got you through those breaks in, it shows how much she loves that career, you know. And
well, I mean, Amber's been doing great. Amber runs.
I would love to get Amber
running
here
Sound
too.
Cadence, isn't she?
Yeah, she's run Sound Cadence since like, oh god, 2015, 2016, out of her bedroom in Ohio originally, and now she has 2 different locations for it.
Yeah,
like,
and they have a studio in Burbank. I walked past it.
Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah.
Wow.
I have nothing but respect for Amber. Amber is someone I have known since I first got started. I think I met her summer of 2009, and she literally is.
Yeah, she used to be in the voice acting club.
She did used to be in the voice acting club. She literally came to my first college graduation in 2010. She literally. I've known her for so long. I was her first audio engineer, and
oh my god, it's like a friendship story. I love this. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no, she's incredible. So I have so much love and respect for Amber. When I first started doing after Coraline, I actually adapted something that I had written for National Novel Writing Month as an audio drama. And Amber played my main character in that. That was how I met her. Was Justin Briner, who plays Deku in My Hero Academia, told me I should hire her for this audio drama, and it's the start of a very long and beautiful friendship.
Yeah, I mean, like having that type of like people, again, like the connections that help, not just from friendship, they believe in what you can do. It's like with Rob, like when my bar was like, 'cause it was because of the Midnight Bar, right? When you found me out, was it? Or yeah. Rob, I mean, that's actually one of the questions I'm going to bring up too, because you guys known each other also for quite a long time. Like Rob is, I know I'm going to sugarcoat you, so because you're such a sweetheart, but like knowing you for this long is, I understand why you're so loved and people love you. It's like you always, I love how understanding you come check up on me sometimes, and you message me and you say, hey, how you doing? Hope you're doing okay. Or you show me some art, and then, you know, I might not be a talkative person because sometimes I just don't know what to say and I feel bad. But like you've been there for me since the start, and like
Rob is such a real one. We're gonna turn this into gushing about Rob for a second.
Yeah. No,
yeah, where I've known Rob since 2000. Oh God,
10, I think.
2012 or 11. 11.
No, 11. Because that's when we did the first. That's when we did the first epic fight time. No, epic.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that was when we met in the Horse Wars. And
I'll never forget.
It
haunts me every day.
And I still remember the first time I met you. Funny story, Rob. I literally love arugula so much because of you, because we went to that restaurant and I was the brokest of broke college students when we went to the Rob came to Chicago with I'm spacing on his name, the writer.
David,
yes.
It was David and then my brother.
Yeah, we got dinner with you and your brother, and you're like, let's meet for dinner. And I was like, sure, that sounds great. I was the brokest college student at the time. and we go to this like pretty decently nice restaurant, and I was frantically scanning for whatever the cheapest item on the menu was, because I was like, I can't afford
I feel that. That's real.
And I ended up getting an arugula salad with chicken because it was the cheapest thing I could find. And I went, wait a second. Arugula fucking slaps. I love arugula.
Do you remember how
I didn't know what this
It's good stuff.
It was. So I
God, I totally forgot. What restaurant did we even go to? I can't even remember.
I don't remember either. And I think David ended up covering it, which was incredibly kind and generous of him. Or you covered some of it too. I don't remember.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was a blur. But it was like the first time I'd like went out on like a nicer dinner, and I was like, oh my god, I'm too broke for this. I can't be here.
Yeah, you see all these nice outfits and everyone around you, and I'm like, I feel
I
like
know.
I'm at a
No,
I'm
no,
at a
it
showed
Met
up.
wasn't. It
Gala.
wasn't.
No, get
It
this,
wasn't the
I
Ritz.
showed up.
Like,
Oh, okay.
I showed up in jeans with my Spider-Man backpack. It was bad. It was so bad. I was not ready to be there.
Another
I
John
thought,
Travolta situation. Like,
it was
Literally.
like a sports bar somewhere near Lincoln Park. Like it wasn't.
it
It
was
wasn't.
not.
It,
It was not a sports bar. It was a nice restaurant in the Magnificent Mile.
so like, was it like?
I
a
think it was
3.5,
something.
4
I think it
stars?
was something in River North, and I think that it.
It was not
it wa-
River
it wa-
North. We were on the Magnificent Mile,
It
and
was
then I
the
took
Magnificent
you
Mile?
over. Yeah, we were on Magnificent Mile, and then we went over to a coffee shop over in one of the neighborhoods. I'm spacing on what it was, but
Oh,
yeah.
Lutz's.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Was it
where
a
it was.
pastry
Okay.
place too?
No. We went for coffee at the like nerdy coffee shop that had the DeLorean in it afterwards. But for
Oh.
dinner we
Oh,
went to
damn.
a restaurant.
Sorry, I hear DeLorean. I have so much
forgot
Back to the
about that.
Future like stuff. When you mentioned Biff, I'm like, I have like my uncle
Oh my
had an old
God.
DeLorean. He actually had an old DeLorean that was
Oh
just
my God,
sitting
I
in
gotta
his
get-
garage.
I need
friend of
to
ours-
get you connected with Kira Buckland.
I was gonna say
because
no.
she-
Kira has a DeLorean. Yeah.
Yeah. We gotta get you connected
Oh
with
shoot!
Kira.
Yeah, sure.
She's great.
You know,
I've always
love
been
her.
appreciative of it. Like,
Yeah.
funny
You
enough,
know who
my
Kira is.
Yeah, I remember Kira.
Yeah.
Who hasn't heard?
She actually just
I guess-
she had a game come out, Motor Slice.
Oh, actually,
It's like an indie Shadow of Colossus kind of game. It's really great.
Solid in the chat actually just played it on stream yesterday. Funny enough.
Yeah.
It looks fun.
No,
I
Kira
mean,
Kira loves her DeLorean,
oh, cause yeah, no, for people who don't, Kira also voiced 2B.
but it's
right?
also
And-
apparently like a
and-
money pit.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
it's a total money pit, but she loves it. Yeah, she's 2B
Yeah.
in Nier Automata, and
Yeah,
she
she's 2B
is
Nier
Jolene,
Automata.
and she's Jolene in JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. So
You know, like
yeah,
that's one of the things where like her and Ryan had a very similar story for like they really like love this one specific character and then they ended up getting it. And it was
yeah.
huge for them because remember like we're talking about Kira, like she loves JoJo. Like she fucking
Yeah.
loves JoJo. And so
Pick up
she
a lot of the
really wanted to
franchise.
be, and so like they were like, I don't know, 3 seasons in. I think they were like at the 3rd or 4th season out of like the 7 or 8. Like there was like
Yeah.
4 or 5, like there was like 3 or 4 years before they would start working on like the series that had Jolene. And so Kira like started taking more lessons, like just like started just like really like training and just like
Kira
just really
worked her
upping her game.
ass
She worked her
off to get
ass
that
off
part.
to get
Yeah,
that
I don't even
role.
Kira
watch this
is one of the
series and she
most-
just killed it.
Yeah, no,
Good
Kira
amazing.
is one of the most dedicated actors, and also, oh my gosh, too. Like, I'm sorry, at a lot of the
No,
times
don't
when
be.
people bring up other actors, I'm like, I'm sorry, I have to gush about how amazing they are. They're so good. Also, too, I finished my first drink, and I'm on to my second. So now I'm in the point where I'm like, I
Cheers,
love
you know what?
everybody. They're so
There's
great.
no liquor.
You know what? Let me go. Cheers. You know what? I'll get some water. Cheers to that.
Yay! Cheers.
Where's the
But-
gin,
but-
ma'am?
In my belly. I already drank all my gin. I had my Empress gin that Rob sent me because he
Good stuff.
clocked me as Promia the
Oh.
instant that came out, and I was
Oh,
like,
yeah, no,
"Rob,
immediately."
You can't tell people that.
Rob shows me, like,
Um,
actually funny enough, he's like streams the things, he shows me his liquor cabinet. I'm like, brother, you might as well just get yourself
I
a whole
know.
liquor
Open a
store and
bar?
talk about all the different, just have
I
a whole liquor store
know.
plus a
Oh
bar.
my
Like
God.
no joke. I just had one of the board members from the ABC. So in North Carolina, all the liquors state controlled. They're called the ABC stores. One of them just came to my because I bought a food truck for the community, and so we were just like
Wait,
over.
I'm
and,
sorry. Wait, you bought a food truck? When?
well, I rented a
What?
food truck.
You see what
Okay,
we're talking
okay,
about,
okay.
how
I didn't know.
amazing Rob is?
I didn't purchase a food truck. I bought the services of a food truck for the community, which I now realize never use roaming hunger. They upcharged 30%. I didn't realize how
that's
much.
Ew.
No, because I
But you
I paid
didn't know.
way too much money. Then because I was talking to, I paid X amount of money, and then I was talking to the food truck people, which is Jesse's food truck, which is a Philly cheesesteak food truck, And they were like, oh, well, we don't know how much they upcharge. And I was like, this is exactly what I paid. They're like, yeah, you could have saved $500. And I was like, damn, I wish I had known.
You could save $500 on your car
at this point, I probably could have, well, because if we went over, I probably could have saved $1,000 fucking dollars.
But I just think a switch guy, not
anyways,
yes.
kind of going on the tangent there,
No,
but
that's fine. We're gushing by it.
What did I leave off at?
So
I mean, we were talking about how amazing Kira was. Oh, that's what I wanted to say.
So
okay, sorry, let me finish this thought real quick.
Sure. Go ahead.
I was the mastering engineer on a game that I don't think went anywhere. It was a zombie game. I think Will Smith sponsored it. Was it Undawn?
Oh, I know. It was was it Undawn? Yeah, I've seen the.
Yeah. I lost years off my life mastering some of the audio for that, but gotta pay the bills. Gotta pay rent somehow. But Kira came in for that game, and I was mastering her session, and she played like 15 different characters, and the way she so effortlessly created 15 such distinct voices and characters for that session, I was like, oh my god, Kira's so good. I will
she became very much a utility actor.
Girl just like sleeving up her shoulder and be like, shit, here we go again, and go, let's do it.
She literally understood that if she was going for Jolene, and she was so busy when she was recording for Jolene, she could not take vocal rest. Her voice has been permanently changed because she wanted to be Jolene so bad, and she accepted the fact that the amount of work she put into it and the amount of vocal stress that took literally permanently changed her vocal print, and she's like, worth it, because that character meant so much to me. And I have so much love and respect for Kira. I think she's just I love
Shout out to
her
Kira.
so much. We love Kira.
I know she's not
Buckland.
seeing this unless you tell Kira in this point of the
I know,
we
stand
we
Kira
love you,
Buckland in this house, and everyone should go tell her how amazing she is, because I think she's just the best.
Glory
so,
mankind,
anyways,
so I had to do that too.
I'm sorry. I get a whole gin mixed drink in, and I'm like, let me tell you about how much I love Kira.
Let me tell you about.
But that's the thing, though. That's the whole point. Bringing it up again. It's a good time. That's what we're doing, and that's what we're already on such a wonderful conversation about it, and I don't want to break that, right? One thing I was going to mention too, because you mentioned earlier that you have dogs, like 3. Is it 3 dogs?
Yeah.
Or...
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
boys.
3 Chihuahuas. They do not have object permanence. Like, you walk in the room, they scream at you, and then they're like, okay, he's here. You walk out of the room, you come back in, back to screaming. Like, who are you?
Rob is such a real one, because he let me bring all 3 of them to his house and did not care that they screamed at him as much as they did.
Yeah, because he'll probably just go...
we're bringing Kaylin's Chihuahua with us to Texas, so you'll be able to see the old man. The 18-year-old Chihuahua that doesn't bark at all.
Wow, 18 years
That's
old?
impressive.
That's amazing. Oh my god.
Yeah, the longest, I think
you just got to get him a walker.
Was 10, because we had cats.
Whoa.
He's a very
so
old
excited.
man. He is also like deaf, but he's super chill.
I love him already. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm so excited.
One of your dogs was named Nico, right? They were in the hospital. What happened?
Nico. Okay, so if this is not TMI, my mom was a nurse, so at this point I'm like so oblivious to what is TMI at this point. So Nico's anal gland exploded last Saturday.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's why you had to go to the ER. Oh my god.
Yeah. We were so worried because I came home. So I'm an absolute weirdo, and so Saturday morning I leave to go play with my early music recorder ensemble that I play with, because that's the kind of human being that I am, as I spent 10 years training in classical music only to find out I had fibromyalgia so bad I couldn't be a musician, and pivoted into voice acting like an insane person. But that was how I did that. And I came back from recorder ensemble. I had to pick up my new rig for recording and audio engineering on. At some point I will get that set up. I'm very excited. But I came home and Nico was acting very weird. And normally he's he's such a sweet boy. He wants cuddles, he wants attention. He just wants you to hold him and love him and give him attention. And he was kind of you could tell he wanted the attention, but then he would go and hide in the corner. And I was like, something's wrong. I can tell something is wrong with him. And I'm freaking out because I think, oh my God, is it his knees? Did he slip a disc in his back? Oh my gosh, something's horribly wrong. I can tell he's uncomfortable and he's in pain. Several hours go on and I can't tell what he wants or what he needs. I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with my boy? This is my dog that I've had since he was 8 weeks old. Like, this is my tiny little potato who is my soul dog. And freaking out. And then finally I go, wait a second. I haven't checked his anal glands. And 5 years ago, we came home from Christmas break. He had way too much people food because my parents love to feed the dogs table scraps. And his anal gland had exploded back then. And I went, wait a second. What if it's his anal gland? So I looked at it. I'm so sorry. I'm saying anal gland way too many times.
You're good. You're good.
But I look at it, and it is this bulbous mass on his butt. And he is a long-haired Chihuahua, so he has like Pomeranian fur, basically, because long-haired Chihuahuas were crossed with Pomeranians briefly, got the long-haired gene, and then they cut it back off. And then now they have the dense double coat of a Pomeranian, but Chihuahua. And so we couldn't tell. Like, we literally were looking at it. And I went, oh my God, this thing's ready to blow. So I had to bring him to the emergency vet. It exploded while we were there. Thank God we were there, though. He has a slight heart murmur, so they couldn't like fully sedate him. And his dog did not want to be sedated. So it was a whole process, but eventually they got it flushed out. He's doing great. I have him on antibiotics right now. He's doing fabulous. We were so happy. They took great care of him. We randomly have this like chain of emergency vets called the Veg now, and I'm like, oh my God, these guys are really good. But yeah, he squirmed. He was so good though. I was so proud of him because he could have been complete Chihuahua mode the whole time where he was like nipping and having attitude. This poor boy, he was just like, no, this is uncomfortable. I don't like it. Please no. But other than that, he was just the sweetest boy. So anyways, I love Nico. I love him so much.
All in the chat with us wishing recovery here to Nico.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, he's the best boy in the world. I love him so much, and I'm so happy he's doing better. Unfortunately, with the e-collar, he is running into every wall and every piece of furniture in the house multiple times a day. But he's doing his best.
Oh, the cone?
The cone of shame. Yeah, his cone of shame.
Yeah. I know a friend of
But
mine
he also doesn't mind me putting it on him. Like, I take it off so he can have like a meal and go outside. And I'll be like, buddy, we gotta put the cone back on. And he comes right up to me, wags his little tail, and stands there while I put the cone on. He's such a good dog. I love him so much.
I really wish I had a husky. That was one of the dogs that I wanted to get.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm looking at the chat too, and they say huahuas. I love the lady who calls them chihuahuas too. She brought her dog on a cruise with her because originally she had to leave her dog home, and then I think it was like Carnival was like, do you want to bring your dog with you? And she went, oh my God, chihuahuas, they let chihuahuas. And now that's like my vocal stem. So
funny enough, when you brought that up from Solid actually worked in veterinary clinics before, so funny at the time.
Thank you for your service. Oh my gosh, we appreciate you.
I was a vet tech. I did animals.
Yeah.
I've done shit where I've ran the fucking ER. I've ran treatment. I ran radiology. I ran the morgue.
Yeah, Solid has been one of my mods for like a long time, and he's been one of my good friends. And yeah, he's worked on all sorts of different pets, and I used to have a cat way when I was like 2 years old. We had it was like a ginger. I can't remember the exact breed, but we called him Stanley.
Cat.
Yeah, orange cat. Yeah, his name is Stanley, and he would always play with me when I was a kid, and I always remember that because I always laugh at my mom. Like, that was the only way I was able to like laugh. And so my mom would have me and Stanley together. But then later on, my sister started to what happened was that my mom started getting allergic. My sister started getting severely allergic too, so we had to give him up for adoption. But we gave him a good home afterwards. It sucked because we ended up having to go into fish, and I had like a whole tank of fish, and then that's when I started getting into like aquariums and planetariums, funny enough, and stuff like that. That's why this whole world, for people who don't know, this is my new world that Tanner made, and it's a whole planetarium bar. So I used to like to go to a place called the Ontario Science Center. And of course, it's not open anymore because they're moving it into Lakeshore in Toronto. And it had an IMAX dome, like literally a full IMAX dome. And you'd watch documentaries on it. Love that kind of stuff.
Oh my goodness. We have so much to talk about because Milwaukee also, so I'm from Milwaukee originally, and they have the coolest public museum, literally like the Milwaukee style of museum is well known because they have full-size interactive dioramas that you can go into that are like human size. So they had, it was like a specific style of museum, but they were also really well known for the IMAX dome where you watch the documentaries, and I thought they were so cool. To the point where I dragged my poor friend Ray into one when we went to Auckland, New Zealand, because I thought, oh my God, let's go watch Galaxies. And they were like, it's a Queen show. And it turns out that the Queen show, if you go to that at the Auckland Planetarium, it is a show designed by some man who subscribed to After Effects for the first time and thinks that generators are the coolest thing ever. And also, if you ever wanted to hear Bohemian Rhapsody set to the miracle of human life creation with sperm and eggs, that's a great place to go.
That's cool.
No, it's not. It was bad. It was so terrible.
Oh, was it?
It was so bad. It was so bad. It was like the life-changing, like, Reagan and I bonded as, like, people that day where we came out and we were like, that just happened to us. That was the most insane thing we've ever seen. So,
it's an experience, at least for your life.
yeah. So if you go to Auckland in New Zealand, which is a phenomenal place, literally Auckland is one of my favorite places I've ever been to in the entire world. I wouldn't recommend you go to that show, but it also does change your life. For the better, questionable, but what an experience we had together. So if you get, oh my God, I can't imagine taking a dummy and going to that show. That would be
We're just like getting like a little bit of crossfade, have a little bit of drink, and then again, my friends do that all the time. They just like, they want to go to see like a terrible experience. I had one of my friends who, funny enough, we mentioned The Room during the whole dubbing thing last night, and one of my friends, he actually just decided to like, random movie, my friend said, hey, you got something that I would be good just to kind of like go high, and of course it's legal here, but what happened was, I said, okay, watch The Room. And he comes back to me after watching, and he just starts going through the quotes and everything. I'm like, is there more of this? And I tell him about the disaster artist, James Franco, I think.
Oh, yes. I've read the book. I don't know if I saw the movie.
The movie was great. I actually went day one to it because I actually really like The Room because I know it's a cult classic because it's so bad. Right?
Yeah.
And it was phenomenal because when I went to see it, I was so shocked about like Tommy Wiseau, where the heck the money was coming from when he was able to hire all these like, you know, like actors and actresses and getting to know about it. But the fact that we're able to actually get a whole movie and make you just stay in the seat and watch it, it was just so good. I loved it. You guys got to watch Disaster Artist. It's actually a really good movie by all means. Go ahead.
And the book is spectacular because they go into so much detail about all of the things he did where he was like, this is a real Hollywood movie, and if you're gonna do a Hollywood movie, you have to build the set, you have to hire actors this way, you have to do it by this book. And it was like the most expensive and most confusing way you could have possibly made this movie, and it's so funny. What an amazing book.
Sorry, I was thinking about telling my friend about it. Now I'm laughing in my hand. Actually, another thing I was going to mention too, because we were talking about like, again, planetariums and aquariums, stuff like that. You were mentioning museums. I take it do you like, what's your, I guess two of these questions kind of similar. What's your favorite convention to go to when you're off doing your own thing?
Oh my God. What a hard show. Okay. There's some really, really phenomenal. I love classic anime conventions that kind of predate like the Comic-Con model. So I would say like MetroCon in Florida, the best people. I love them so much. They're great. I also had such a great time at oh my gosh, I'm like a dementia patient with names, so it's not that I can remember about a million facts about things, but remembering a formal name, God, couldn't be
Gone.
me.
Yeah, one year out the other. Yeah,
oh my God, there was one we just did. Hang on, it was. Oh my God, where was that? I will think of this. I had the best time there, and I loved them. They were so great. But yeah, like anything that is like a classic anime convention. We did Anime Weekend Atlanta and had the best time there. Because they're like, we as the voice actors, sometimes I really struggle when they're like, oh my God, come see the celebrities. And I'm like, we should be an afterthought. Where you're like, oh my God, I'm at this convention. There happens to be some voice actors there too. What a cool thing to also do. I don't, any convention that markets us as the main event, I mean, this sounds counterintuitive for the way I make money, but I don't care. Like, I really think, oh my gosh, what is this name? It's TechCon. TechCon was so much fun. I love Techo. Oh my gosh, I did Anime Milwaukee. What a great time. Oh my gosh, loved Anime Milwaukee. What a great show. Oh my gosh, I could gush about them for hours. That was a great time. I'm biased because I'm from Milwaukee, but also it was such a well-run show. I loved that. I had such a good time there. I'm just skimming through.
Did you have any favorite Canadian conventions to go to?
Oh my goodness, yes. So I will say I've mostly done, for Canada, I've mostly done the Fan Expo shows. I know I think it's Anime North in Calgary.
Yes. Yep. And there's one here in Toronto for Anime North in the summer.
I would say there that I would, anything that gets you to Calgary. Oh my God. Calgary was incredible.
Calgary's beautiful.
Cannot say enough good things about like the food we had in Calgary. Spectacular. We went out to Banff for an afternoon.
Banff.
Oh my God.
Beautiful.
I went to Lake Louise, had high tea at the Fairmont. What a dream come true. Just a beautiful experience. I want to spend an entire week out in Banff and go hiking and do hot springs and everything like that. Just a spectacular place. So I can't say enough good things. But I also really, really enjoyed Fan Expo Toronto, or Canada. I think they call it Fan Expo Canada. It's the Toronto show.
Yeah.
So I will 100% hype you up that I think Toronto was a wonderful city to visit. What a great time too. So,
what I need to do the next time you're back there, I need to hit you up and message, say I'll come by and say hi.
Yes.
I'll let you know, and then we can hang out or stuff. And one thing I will recommend to you, I will give you a recommendation, because I did mention St. Lawrence Market. But another thing, because I told my mom, and she's like, yeah, you gotta have that experience. You come to Toronto, you gotta go to like the Hockey Hall of Fame. Even if you're not a hockey fan, you gotta go to St. Lawrence Market, get the produce. Some of the stuff that's there is amazing. The food, I kid you not, Natalie, is all to die for. It's great, and it's good pricing. Another thing is, if you want to like spend your time in Canada as a whole, you take the Via Rail, and because there's some trains that actually have like a glass dome on the top floor of the train, and you could just go through the mountains and go through everything and just watch it all from the top. It's absolutely gorgeous. So there's something like that too. Yeah. So
I'm going to Alaska for the first time in a few months. I will say, or in not a few months, a few weeks actually. Crazy that's happening. I love that. I also went to Northern Ontario. It was like a Comic-Con. Oh my gosh, I can't remember.
Was it Ottawa or was it?
It was not Ottawa. It was like, I think we flew into Toronto and then had like a 90-minute flight north from Toronto.
Okay, so it could be Sault Ste. Marie. I think maybe. I think I know what you're talking about because I usually go up north because when you were mentioning camping, that was another recommendation is Algonquin Park.
Oh.
It's a really pretty place. I'll send you pictures and stuff like that. This nice little town my mom and I would usually go, and it's literally a blink and you miss it kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
But they had a farmers market there that had some of the best produce I've ever had in my life. Like, I am normally not a radish person, but I got a salad that had radishes on it, and I was like, oh my god, I have to eat all of these radishes because they're so delicious. So what a great place.
Have you ever had
So
radishes?
I've had pretty good experiences.
If I had a regular radish, it's been a long time, but I do like daikon radishes, especially. I use them to do. I mean, there's so many different there's great Korean and Japanese recipes that use daikon radishes. One of the simple ones is sort of like a daikon radish and beef soup, where it uses like a very simple kind of broth, and it's basically just the equivalent of like a miso soup with daikon. Like it's nice.
Yeah, I felt bad because
and also because anytime you buy a daikon radish, they're like 3 feet long, so you can just get so much out of it.
It's the same with me with like grapes. Like you get grapes that have they're small, but if you leave them on the vines, they can get ginormous. And I didn't even know the fact that when they usually make wine, especially if you go to Niagara on the Lake, because that's another great place too, Nelly. I don't know if you've ever been to Niagara Falls or Niagara on the Lake.
Oh no, I want to.
Yeah, Niagara on the Lake is known for their vineyards. So if you want to get a good wine, you go down there, and Niagara on the Lake is the go-to place. And I've been there, and the cool thing is my mom and I, we love Christmas. We love that, but that's our holiday. We love it, the atmosphere, all that. And there's a place that always has, it's just called Everything Christmas or something like that. And it's just all year, Christmas all year, so you can get your handmade ornaments. Everything is literally handmade. It's unbelievable. So something else for you. One thing, because I want to do a couple more questions, and I want to throw in a Q&A as well.
Yeah, I was going to say we're about 90 minutes in if you want to.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I get very easily on tangents and distracted.
No,
so.
I love this because the worst thing I feel is that I'm actually going to miss doing this because I really enjoyed talking with you, Natalie. It was so much fun. Just bouncing questions around and talking.
We'll do another one. Megan actually said she would be down for doing a duo interview too at some point too. So if you wanted to do something with both of us,
for the podcast. Yeah, and did you want to clarify who Megan is as well? Because some people are like, Megan?
Oh yes, Megan plays Anya in Spy Family too. So
she's also the voice of Grace in Zenless.
Yeah, she's Grace in Zenless, Hua Hua in Honkai Star Rail, and she's like one of my ride or die besties. So anytime you get us in the room together, we're chaotic and very funny. One of my favorite things in the world was one time someone tagged us in a photo that they had taken at one of the conventions they had gone to, and they had 2 different photos of 2 different panels they went to. They first went to a panel with Ryan Colt Levy and Sarah Wiedenhaft from Chainsaw Man. They play Denji and Power, respectively. And love both of them. What wonderful.
Oh, yeah, I love those. Those are fantastic. Every time they're near Con nearby, I kidnap them.
Yeah, amazing people. And someone had captioned that photo with, OMG, they're so pretty. And then if you scrolled through their post, it got to the panel with Megan and me, and it went, OMG, they're so funny. And I went, you know what? That's my legacy. That's who we are. That's the vibe. You've got the pretty people, and then you've got the funny people, and Megan and me are the funny people.
Yeah, I would definitely make a special, because what I want to do, people don't know, is eventually.
Would it be a podcast or would it be in VR chat?
It would be podcast and VR chat. You've been enjoying the atmosphere of this, right?
This is great. I think Megan is also a VTuber too, so I'm sure she's not unfamiliar with doing this. I can't volunteer too much.
Yeah,
but
I think we should be specific on the terminology when you say podcast.
Yeah, right, true. Like a VR chat gathering, I guess, or how
It's
would
another.
you define it?
It'd be like a. I mean, I guess a video podcast like interview. I guess the question is
Yeah.
if you export just the audio, or if it's going to be more like a video interview.
Yeah, I mean, we could always do a video interview. I feel that's
We'd
the
say a
best way,
talk
especially
show.
yeah, we'll say a talk show.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'd love to also like get Amber to come in and actually join in and just have like a grand time. That'd be a really cool thing too. But yeah, that's
Oh, that would be
something
neat
in
if she's
the
available.
future. Yeah, of course, because that's another thing. The more people you have, you got to try and get that right availability to get into. But yeah, we're thinking about changing it up a little bit. My next one that I'm doing is Garode, the composer, the sound composer for Valhalla. I'm actually having him next
Ooh.
month, so I'm
How cool.
loving that. Yeah, we ended up becoming friends, and he told me a whole bunch of his story and stuff, and we've known each other for like a couple years because he found me out because he DM'd me and asked about the Midnight Bar. Natalie hasn't checked out the Midnight Bar. We're actually gonna show her to her sometime.
Oh,
And
amazing.
so yeah, and I just was really happy to know that he was wanting to do it, and he would always check up on me, and I would check up on him, and we just became close. So, but yeah, okay. So I got one more, and then we'll do question and answers. So the other one was we were mentioning about also like the cross stitching stuff. I saw that on Twitter. You actually did the carpet of The Shining, which is really funny because I did that for an October Halloween movie night, and
really?
yeah, because the first time I saw The Shining was not actually from The Shining. It was from Ready Player One. That moment, I don't know if you watched Ready Player One, right, where they had that moment in there where they're in the Shining. And people would always make the joke of the carpet and stuff like that. There was always this talk about it, like, what is this carpet? And people were like, what is this? Even some people, some of the devs actually, for Signalis, there's actually a part in the game that has I think if you remember, the Shining carpet. So I found that out. That was actually really funny. So, how long have you been doing cross stitching for? I love that kind of stuff. Arts and crafts.
Oh yeah. Wow, yeah, loaded question. So for anyone who doesn't know, I love crafting. I am a huge, especially any crafting that involves hand stitching. So that's primarily like cross stitch, needlepoint, and embroidery, and kind of anything that falls under those particular categories. That's been kind of a special interest of mine. Shockingly, I'm not neurospicy. I just act like I am half the time. But I really, really love hand stitching. And so I started cross stitching originally. Like cross stitching was the genesis OG point, where my mom came in when I was in like middle of elementary school and dropped some kits in front of me and said, "You're cross stitching your grandparents' Christmas gifts this year." And she was like, okay, there's 4 different kits here. You're going to make one for your paternal grandparents, one for your maternal grandparents, one for us, and something like that. And I remember making all of those and being like, oh my God, I think this is the best thing in the world. And if you don't know what cross stitching is, essentially, if you really want to get super, super specific, it is analog pixel art. You use charts the way you would pixel charts, and then you translate it to needle and thread. And so cross stitching very, very specifically follows kind of that basic grid, that basic kind of chart, pixel by pixel,
right, like the
formatting.
1 by 1 square, but then right.
Yeah, and you can kind of do it however, you know, the way pixel art can be very, very simple little icons all the way up to something incredibly detailed and specific. So I've been cross-stitching since elementary school. Loved that. My grandma and my aunt, my aunt owned and ran a craft store for a while. My grandma helped there, and so that's kind of been in the family for years. And then they closed up the store before I was born, but they had a lot of supplies left over. So as I got older, out of all the grandkids, I was the one who gravitated most towards it. And they were like, oh, Natalie really enjoys this. Let's keep sending her all the stuff. So I have so much, I had so much supplies growing up from my, from the family store, essentially. And I just kept trying things, and I was homeschooled for a while, so one of the things when you're homeschooled is you're kind of like, oh, there's no curriculum, so I can do whatever I want and come up with whatever I want. And that's what I did. So I got really, really into cross stitch and eventually into needlepoint and embroidery. And it is just a thing that has followed me my whole life. I kind of really got back into it once COVID hit. And then when I was traveling so much, I also just was stitching when I was on the go, because I was like, okay, cool. I'm spending all this time on airplanes, in airports, in hotel rooms. What else am I going to do?
Need to do something, right? It's like me with yo-yos. I used to play yo-yos when I was a kid, and I still do.
Really?
Yeah. It's a lost.
Interesting.
It's a lost game now. I mean, when do you usually hear someone say, I play yo-yo? Like back in the 90s, right? Or Pogs. Remember Pogs? All that kind of stuff, all the crazy stuff in the 90s that people bring up because were you a 90s kid?
Oh my
or were you a
gosh,
2000s
Pogs
kid?
too. Yeah. Oh my god, I remember Pogs. That was a wild. I don't think I quite understood it, but I definitely had
Me
Pogs.
neither.
I remember.
We could go on to that one for a while. We'll put that through another time. But what's your proudest accomplishment cross stitching? Like, do you have a certain piece
Oh my
that
goodness.
you thought was a real
Yes. My very proudest accomplishment is I started a piece when I was in middle school by a designer named Teresa Wentzler, Wentzler, and she has a design of Rapunzel from the fairy tale, and that was the most difficult piece I've ever finished. That one had, I think, almost 25,000 stitches in it.
Wow.
And also uses a technique called thread blending, where you mix multiple colors together to create more subtle variations of different colors and tones, and it gives a very like traditional kind of like almost like a tapestry, kind of like very classical style needlework design. And so that one I will be eternally proud of how much work I put into that. But I cross-stitched an Afghan that I then cross-stitched as well too. So I think yesterday we were talking about like, have you ever cross-stitched a blanket? And I was like, well, actually,
I cross-stitched a carpet.
Needlepoint tends to be more, we'll do carpets and other items like bench covers and stool covers.
Coasters even? Have you done like coaster types or?
I haven't done coasters, but they're very easy and very normal. Part of the kind of like hand stitching kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Ecosystem. So that's a pretty normal thing you would learn how to do and be able to do. There's actually a really funny set of coasters that you can get from a store that's local to here in Dallas. They're called Whip Stitch, WIP, like work in progress stitch. And they have these funny coasters that say like, fuck, shit, damn, hell.
So like onomatopoeias kind of stuff on the coasters and something too. That's cool.
Yeah, needlepoint has gotten very snarky, very millennial coded, which is interesting. We're very, very early into the process, but I actually have been discussing with my financial advisors the possibility that me and some friends might be going in together on a local craft store that especially specializes in those things. Again, we haven't done anything hardcore.
Right.
But that is kind of like a thing that we've talked about doing, especially as a way for me to still be able to do voiceover, but not be as dependent on like traveling and doing conventions as much.
And still having some sort of stable income with it on the side, right?
Yeah, so we're kind of exploring what that might look like for like a long-term thing. So that's the thing I would really love to be able to do. I design some of my own patterns now too, which I'm really excited about. My stitching TikTok has almost 3,000 subscribers, which for that space is pretty impressive.
Nice.
So I'm pretty happy about that.
Do you have an Etsy?
Yeah, it's I don't have an Etsy yet, but if you want to follow me on TikTok or Instagram, I have a account called blue.hour.stitchery. So blue hour is kind of the transitional period between day and night. It's a very liminal time, so it has to do with kind of like this point where reality and kind of this otherworldly time of transition meet, and where the boundaries between reality and fiction are the most kind of in flux. So I love that. I think that best describes my art and the things that I love to do the most. And so we're talking about possibly maybe having a storefront, like a brick and mortar store put together in the next couple of years. So that is something I'm really excited about.
I would actually love to eventually, like, if that ever happens, please let me know, because then I can show it to my mom and she might buy some things off your store and we'll have it in our home. Yeah, I'd love that.
That would be amazing.
Our family is into arts and crafts a lot too, and I used to do a lot of oil painting and chalk and stuff, and I was really good at it back
Oh my
when I was
goodness.
But yeah, okay. So now that we're done with the main questions, I got a couple from my community. Would you be interested in
Of course.
taking 2? We'll do 2 out of it.
Yes.
So I got 5.
Also,
we'll
thank
take
you
2.
for the. Yes. Also, thank you for the person in chat who linked my TikTok account. I really, really appreciate that.
That's my
thank
girlfriend.
You so much. Oh, amazing. Oh, thank you. Hi, nice to meet you.
She wants to. She's actually because I know we were talking about doing some Peak sometime, because we'd love to do that with you. And my girlfriend plays a lot of
Oh my gosh,
Peak,
that'd be
and
so
I'd love to
fun.
bring her along just to kind of like vibe with everyone, because she comes by and we do some stuff on it.
And hopefully I'm not derailing too much either, too. But that is a thing I've been very, very passionate and excited about doing.
I love Peak. Peak is great. Well, here we go. So, here's one actually from my girlfriend. Do you have a specific role that you look for before taking it?
Can you elaborate a little bit more, just to make sure I understand what
I guess,
the question is?
So, honey, would you like to? What I can do is I can go to another question real quick while she gets that one specific, and we'll come back to that. So, funniest. Okay, so this one's from Demon Slayer DJ. Funniest moment with a fan or friend.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so with a fan, the one that comes to mind is, so I was doing a signing at a convention in Nashville, and we had some people come up, and I had stepped away from my table for a minute, and I came back to my table, and my handler at the time was like, hey, we had someone come up and asked if you signed weird things. And I was like, you're gonna have to be so much more specific. It's probably fine, but what is the definition of weird things? Because I've signed an EpiPen and I've signed a Taco Bell clipboard. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Like, weird can mean so many different things. And for the most part, I love a weird signing. Like, again, those are some of my favorites. But they were like, you sign weird things. And I was like, do we have more information? And they said, yeah, would you sign a piece of a car? And I went, oh yeah. I mean, it's not every day, it's not every con, but I've signed a few cars. People literally will bring their wrapped cars and have us come in and sign like the glove compartment or like on the door or something like that. So that's not remotely unheard of. So I was like, oh yeah, we've signed cars all the time. And they said, will you sign a piece of a car? And what immediately comes to mind is my friend, again, Kira Buckland, who we talked about earlier, because she's literally taken like her glove compartment door off of her DeLorean and brought that in to have Back to the Future actors sign. So in my head, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, she's amazing.
Sorry,
again,
I'm
no.
gush with her about all that stuff.
Yeah, the Kira gushing, it's so easy to get into Kira gushing, so I have to control myself. But I was like, yeah, oh my god, I've done that before. That's not a big deal. Love her. And so I was like, yeah, absolutely. So she's like, okay, cool. I told them they'd probably be fine, but I just wanted to double check if they come up, like, you'd be good with that. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely, totally fine. So that was on a Friday. Saturday midday rolls around, and these people come up, and again, I'm expecting an internal piece of a car. What I am not expecting is part of a bumper, and part of a bumper that looks like the Hulk ripped it off of the car.
What? Must be heavy.
Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah. It's not the whole bumper, to be clear, but it is part of a bumper. And I'm like, okay, in what universe did this bumper gets severed from this car so violently. And they set it down and they go, "Hi, Natalie. So you were supposed to be at Anime Weekend Atlanta 2024. I ended up going to Anime Weekend Atlanta 2025 because in 2024 I had a complete fibromyalgia flare-up that was so bad. It is the one and only time I've had to cancel a public appearance because of health. It was so bad, my body was freaking out. I had a military session that was so intense, my body apparently literally thought I was in the middle of a firefight. And I could not get my body out of the fight or flight state. And if your body has been in fight or flight for too long, everything goes haywire. And it was going haywire. So I was seeing all of my medical professionals. I was doing everything I could to mitigate all the symptoms. It was so bad. And it got to the point where I was like, I had to message my agent and be like, I don't know if I can come here. And they went, Natalie, you are chronically ill and somehow have never managed to cancel a single appearance. If it is bad enough that you are asking, you clearly need to stay home. We'll just get you next year. So it was totally fine. They were very, very understanding and completely amenable, which was great. So I was supposed to be there in 2024. So this is spring 2025. And they come up and they have this piece of a bumper. And I said, "Hi, Natalie. So our friend brought his car to Anime Weekend Atlanta in 2024, thinking that you would be there. He had it wrapped in a Your Forger design, and he thought that you would be able to sign it while it was there. And you weren't able to make it, and he was, obviously your health is important, so no big deal, but we wanted to get it signed. But since then, this car was in a wreck, and it was completely totaled.
Oh my god.
But we hung on to this piece of the bumper. Would you be willing to sign this piece of the bumper?
That explains it. Oh, okay.
And I did. So this car had been wrapped. I got to see pictures of it. It looked great. He had since, insurance had covered everything and was able to purchase a new car. And it has since been wrapped as a Sanrio character, which totally valid. I would also I think that's a completely reasonable way to rewrap your car, but it doesn't look like yours anymore. So they were like, we thought it would be really funny to get this broken piece of the old car signed and give it to him. And then I was on the floor laughing for approximately 5 minutes. I couldn't stop laughing. It was so funny, but that is one of the best experiences I have ever had signing something for someone.
Coming back. I can only imagine, say, Yor was here just on the bumper and just having that as a good luck charm, even though the car was totaled, and be like, I remember this day and I keep remembering. That's what gives me my happy place. I just think about that and it makes me laugh.
Oh no, not even the happy place. I felt so bad, but it was so funny.
But it's funny. I mean, like I said, I'm glad that they got their car replaced and stuff like that, because it was unfortunate with my mom. She had her thing done. Someone bumped into her in the parking lot. She wasn't in it. It was this I think it was Valentine's Day. She got hit on the side. She wasn't in the car. She was getting Chinese food. Hit the car and just ran. We never could find her or find the person that would drive away. Still haven't. And she had to pay $500 out of it to get, because they have to. Like it's their thing they have to do. And so my community just paid the entire thing and then her driver's license on top. So it was really sweet of them to do that. So it was so sweet. So now last one I want to talk. So my girlfriend mentioned she got the more specific. Is there any role you look for specifically, like mature looking characters or characters you like the look of, or do you just go for any kind of variety?
I will say that if there's anything I can play in voiceover and people will pay me to play in voiceover, I will admit I am quite shameless that I will take whatever work comes to me. There's very few things I will be like, no, I won't do that, or I can't do that. And most of the time that honestly boils down to like the audition came in, I am in a busy period, completely overstimulated. And then they're like, we want you to play this high energy character. And I go, nope, that's going in the archive. folder, and I'm not even gonna try it. So outside of those situations, most of the time I will try to do as much as I feasibly have the time and physical ability to do so. So I think a lot of people are like, oh, you always get cast as this type of character. Wouldn't you try to voice other characters? And I will say, most of the time we always are going for the other characters, but most of the time when casting directors hear us, it totally depends on the casting director and also the client too. So that is that can be the developer, that can be the localization team, it can be any number of people involved who make that final decision. And at the end of the day, their goal is to find the actor who best fits that role. And we can do our absolute best, and that character can mean the world to us, and we can try everything we know how to do, and we still might not be the best fit for that character. Right. So at the end of the day, there's so many different factors that go into that have nothing to do with our talent or our experience or our knowledge of how to play that type of character. So there's a lot of different things that go into that, and so I do my best to be able to audition for as wide a variety of characters as I can, but
yeah, of course,
at the end of the day, you do tend to have your wheelhouse characters where you sound the most organic and your acting style slots the most effortlessly into, and then that tends to inform who you are cast as the most. So if anyone wants to cast me outside of that level, I will say yes. I will absolutely say yes and do my best, but there are definitely biases that my voice is not naturally high-pitched. I'm probably never going to be the bubblegum pop hyper kawaii type characters, but I'm okay with that. I don't tend to have. One thing I've realized is that takes so much energy to be able to do just even a couple of lines for that. Even if I audition for those characters, I'm like, okay, that audition was 5 lines and I already need to go take a nap. Maybe I don't want to play this character for hours at a time.
Right, because sometimes you kind of throw in acting a little bit when you do the voices, right? Because it's not just the voice you put in, it's also the movements. It's kind of like how Hugh Jackman does Wolverine in some parts of the recordings that he does. He's up on a microphone, he's doing the thrusting, giving off that, that feeling of being Wolverine, adds a lot more to the character.
One thing I say a lot is that we are oddly niche athletes, that our ability to do what we do with the very specific tool set we have does require some athletic ability. And one thing I have realized as someone with a chronic illness in particular is how much, if my body is not up for it, it doesn't matter how much I want to be able to do the thing. If my body doesn't want to cooperate, it's not going to happen. Right. So you have to be able to figure out how to juggle those different things.
Yeah, and you do amazing at that, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
knowing that, and a lot of people that have been watching through the stream, is that it's just that type of thing where it's you just gotta, like you said, just gotta find a way around it, and I've seen that you, for example, and some others that also have chronic illnesses or stuff. We all have to find a way to survive and do things that most people probably wouldn't imagine doing, and then make it work. And then you find out you do extraordinarily well in that, and it makes you proud, right? You're able to pass by the hurdle and make it feel good. So I think we're all proud of you for being able to do that, and because my mom has the same problem because we talked about that yesterday about my mom with fibromyalgia. She's right there with you. She's like, oh, she must go through a lot. She's like, oh, believe me, whatever you guys do, wow.
Literally a week from today is Fibromyalgia Awareness Day, and one thing I do is I try to always make a post where I'm like, hey, FYI, I don't expect anyone, there's not a lot you can do about this, but just be aware that if someone says they have fibromyalgia, for instance, so I have fibromyalgia, if that has not become abundantly clear already. And so, for instance, right now, I have essentially a permanent muscle spasm that runs down the right side of my neck, down my back, down towards my tailbone. It is incredibly painful. I pretty much everything I do, I am always in pain. Right now, I am currently dealing with shin splints too. Apparently, I had that going on. I had no idea. I just went, hey, I was walking through O'Hare Airport and suddenly I was limping. And then I went to one of my specialists and they were like, yeah, that's shin splints. So I just had that going on. And I thought, oh, my knee just felt a little bit inflamed and kept sliding out of place. That seems weird. I'm just used to ignoring pain in my body so much because that is the only way I can be able to function, is to be able to ignore it. So if someone has fibromyalgia in their life and they're dealing with that, and a lot of times it can cover a variety of different things. It seems like there are multiple conditions like Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and POTS and all kinds of other things that kind of all live within this strange umbrella place. And I've met some really, really spectacular people when I've gone to conventions who I've been able to talk to about this, where we deal with these things. And it's one of those things where basically I found out that my body basically anything that is out of the ordinary, my body perceives it as pain. So it doesn't matter if it is like not actually a thing that should cause you pain. My body's just like, that's not normal. We're going to register everything as pain. So right now I'm currently to try to fix one issue with my jaw. I'm currently essentially restructuring my mouth through the process of using like an Invisalign type solution. And because that is moving my teeth and my mouth and the bones in my mouth and in my head so much, I am constantly in a state of really painful inflammation. So I have completely cut a lot of foods out of my diet to try to minimize the potential for inflammation. And I'm on a lot of different medications. I'm on a lot of different things. I'm on a beta blocker. And then I have to be on an anti-anxiety medication because my body is always in fight or flight because pain puts you in fight or flight. So I have to also tell my body to not recognize fight or flight. But then because I am telling my body to not recognize that, I gave myself shin splints because I didn't recognize I was in pain. So it's this whole process that you have to juggle, and it can be really hard to talk about because a lot of times people with chronic pain can sound like they're just kind of nonstop talking about pain and how much they're dealing with, and you're like, I'm sorry, I sound like a broken record. I don't want to sound like that, but also like every time I talk to you, literally, I can't even see straight because I'm in so much pain. So it's a very delicate situation to kind of be in and live your life in, and I am always fighting to find the doctors that will listen to me and that will help me understand more and more about myself. And we've talked a little bit about this too, so
oh yeah. You and my
so
mom,
it's
both right there. Don't believe me. Wish I could give you a hug.
I appreciate it. Yeah. So you get it. And it's the thing where it's like, I don't want people to necessarily be like, treat me like they're holding me on eggshells and they feel bad for me. But I'm like, just FYI, if, when I am doing everything I am doing in my career, like, there are some people that talk about like the number of different milestones they have to face in terms of like prejudice and different things in voiceover, and that is not to downplay or say those things don't exist whatsoever. But one of the things with chronic pain that I struggle with sometimes is I'm like, oh, I wish prejudice was all I had to deal with. Sometimes I have to deal with the fact that my mouth won't let me say words correctly because the muscle is too locked up. I would much rather deal with prejudice than trying to figure out how to physically manipulate my body around pain. It's a very strange place to be. And again, I don't say that remotely at all to minimize what other people deal through, again, in terms of those prejudices, but it is a very strange place to live in this particular career. But I'm
Right.
also so stubborn, I won't stop doing it, so I do keep doing it.
But you know what? In the end of this, like, I have to say, it's raising awareness to people. You're basically saying you're not alone. For people that also suffer, like my mom, again, and many others that go through that, you know, it's part of life. Regardless if it's, like, severe or not, we all go through, like me with hemophilia, I have to go through certain things to be able for me to live, right? So the fact that you're able to get around it and still, like, you just, again, it's so awe-inspiring to, like, listen to you and just laugh knowing that you have this, and you still pick yourself up and you pick whatever piece you have from all the pain that you go through and just laugh because we have to, right?
Yeah.
And just be happy, because why keep beating yourself down, right? If you're just gonna feel that, you gotta push yourself through it. And again, that's so awe-inspiring, Natalie, and, like, that's amazing. I really appreciate you coming, especially now that we're actually done. I really appreciate that you came in here and did this with us, and I'm glad you got along with my chat too. And if you're watching
you
the
guys have
VOD,
been great. And honestly, I'm not like in a hard out situation too. So if anyone has any other questions too, I'm happy to, chat and answer things too. So yeah.
Sure.
If you guys have anything.
If you have more questions in the chat, or
yeah, if you guys have anything in the chat, I
Yeah.
mean, to be honest with you, think we can go, like, I know this is just for the recording. Should we use this just for the stream one, and then we could do that, or how we want to play that? I want to do one more in the chat. What do you guys think? We'll see if there's one more, and then we'll go from there, okay? How's that?
Yeah, if you
Anyone
guys
else
have
in the chat?
questions or anything? I do
Yeah.
want to offer, I'm
course.
here. We're kind of in the zone right now.
Yeah, and if you're, again, guys, if you're watching this on the YouTube video, we're actually talking to people over on Twitch exactly what kind of other questions. I did have some vetted ones that were from my Discord, but if we can, and Natalie was nice enough to offer that for one, please say in the chat before we go. We'll go say 30 seconds within the chat, and if nothing, then yeah, we'll call it,
Yeah.
and then you go from there. Okay.
I mostly
So-
say that because I did let people know that if they were following me on like social media and they wanted to come here, I don't want to like remove that opportunity from you.
It was really hard to try and get people to get some questions through, because, like, in my Discord, because some people were like, we don't want to answer when we mentioned about the same elephant in the room question that you've heard multiple times, right? And
Yeah.
so a lot of my friends were like that. That's why I barely got anything in the in the Discord. But if nothing else, actually, I'll throw in one from the vetted thing. So I'll give it about 10 more
Yeah,
seconds.
yeah.
Anyone else in the chat? We got 10 seconds. Anyone got something? Please let us know. And then yeah, I'll throw one more in if we don't got anything, which looks like. Oh, I have a chat message ready to go. Oh wait, there you go. We haven't had one from Solid. Okay, sure. I guess my question that I mentioned in Discord was what was audio engineering like for you?
Ooh, yeah. Thank you for asking that, because I think a lot of people don't really ask that. A lot of people are like, oh my goodness, how is recording remotely like? But they don't really ask what the engineering side of things is like.
Yeah.
And this was the thing before I got diagnosed with my anxiety disorder. Audio engineering was actually remotely, not audio engineering period, but audio engineering remotely in particular was very, very stressful, because audio engineering in person is really nice because I have the ability to kind of control the environment. If anything was going wrong, it was within the technology that I had at hand. Whereas if something went wrong when I was engineering remotely, the big thing I had to be careful about and worry about was, at the end of the day, there was someone else with their own unique ability to connect into our signal that I had no control over, and I had to try to guess what they were going through if something wasn't working, and had to try to coach them through that. And sometimes if the actors were not very technically confident, so sometimes for some of our older actors, or just for actors who did not have a solid grasp on, like, they had heard that, when we're recording remotely, we have a lot of new pieces of technology you need to have. You need to have a microphone, you need to have an interface, you need to work with different connection software, you have to work with an internet connection, you have to make sure that those things all talk correctly to each other.
Right.
A lot of people
A lot of variables.
prepared for that. And that's totally understandable because those are things that really only your audio engineer should have to care about and know about. And suddenly you had to know about that as an actor. And that's very strange and very unusual. But at the same time, we kind of had to, as engineers, anticipate anything that the actors could be dealing with and help them fix that immediately. And that was a lot of pressure. And I really struggled with the amount of intensity that kind of brought to the job. So I actually stepped away from audio engineering for a couple of years, partially because I was literally too busy to be able to engineer, but also the thought of engineering was so stressful because of those things.
It takes a lot of patience and willpower to get through a lot of those difficult, again, obstacles and technicalities and whatnot, and again, variables, right? So I don't blame you.
Yeah, so
and just the workload.
Yeah, and it does add a lot of extra workload. So there was a lot of people who were like, I would like to be able to be remote because I have XYZ number of chronic illnesses that I need to be able to factor into whether or not I come into the studio, how much risk I'm associating myself with. And for people like that, I'm like, oh, absolutely. I think that is the case where having remote capabilities is really important. Then you'd have some people that would be like, I don't want to have to drive to the studio. I just want to record from home in my pajamas. And I'd be like, okay, in the grand scheme of things, I hope you'll forgive me that I am prioritizing people with like a health condition, for example. So I think that was like the biggest thing to kind of figure out with audio engineering was I was like, okay, yeah, there's a lot of technical knowledge you have to have. You have to be able to recall that knowledge immediately, be able to solve that immediately. It's a lot of pressure when the whole session is riding on you. So for me, being not...
Big shoes to fill.
Yeah, it's incredibly hard and stressful. So I don't think our engineers get nearly enough credit for the amount of stress they're constantly working under. And I almost feel like an imposter because I only engineer for a couple hours every few weeks, whereas a lot of these people, that's their full-time job. So whatever I can say, my experience feels like it's only a fraction of what they go through, and I feel like they don't get enough appreciation for the amount of work they do to make
shout out to
the
them.
things happen that we do. So I will always
Thank
be
you for
like,
your work.
yeah, our engineers are the unsung heroes.
Goated.
Always. We love them.
Yep. Guys do amazing. Thank you very much. And of course, thank you very much for taking your time out of your busy schedules and everything and doing this interview.
Thank
guys, actually, let me ask you this. Where can they find you? What social media pages? Go ahead and let them know where they can find you at.
Yeah, if you're interested in my voice acting and kind of other stuff, sort of related to those sort of things, pretty much everything I have is at N Van Sistine. That is my first initial and full last name, no spaces, no capitalization, so it's pretty easy to find me there. And then if you also thought that my craft stuff sounded remotely interesting, I'm on Instagram and TikTok at Blue Hour Stitchery. So you can find my weird fiber and crafting shenanigans there.
We got some nerds and geeks in the chat that love that kind of stuff too, so don't worry. It's all good. We want to make sure you get that love because, again, it was a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much. Love you very much. And, of course, Robert.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Rob, for always doing this and co-hosting. We
Yeah,
love
of
you.
course. No,
Thanks,
as always,
buddy.
Natalie, it's always a pleasure to have you. And thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
And, we'll
Rob,
definitely
you're
have
the
to reach out.
best. We love you.
I'm looking forward to seeing you in a couple weeks. And definitely we're going to have to reach out again and figure out how to, definitely have to schedule a game of Peak, maybe this Sunday, depending on people's schedules. But,
Ooh. I can't do this Sunday, but next week Sunday, absolutely. Let's
look for next week Sunday then.
17th.
And then that would be that'd be the week before we head over there. So
perfect.
And
and then we can chat with Midnight and figure out, you know, how to make a double talk show with you and Megan work out, because that could be really fun.
That would be so fun. I promise. Again, like I promise, you might need to schedule like 3 or 4 hours because we are very chaotic. And we will give you hours of content.
Girl, I'm gonna tell you, I used to stream 8 hours a day for 2 years, Monday through Friday. So don't worry, I killed myself on that one, not anymore. But I can go through.
What game were you streaming at the time?
Overwatch and Genshin.
Oh,
like I was the Yoshi. Yeah, I just started getting back into the Summer Main and stuff like that. But yeah, you guys, and of course for you guys, thank you so much for watching. This was the Just Before Midnight one-on-one with Natalie Van Sistine. We will see you all next time. And of course, my name is Midnights in Valhalla. I am the owner of the Midnight Bar and VR Chat and this wonderful new world, Galaxy 2 by Tanner, Twitch partner, variety streamer, and first generation virtual market ambassador, as well as VCAN's team lead. Wishing you all a good night and see you next time, which will be next month actually, with hopefully with Garode himself or Michael Kelly, the again composer of Valhalla. Have yourself a good one, and we'll see you next time. Bye everybody. Bye guys.
Take care. We still got to come up with it. Like, we got to like schedule like a full like release for the Galaxy 2.